Hello, this video is brought to you from the Student Learning Center via Learning Comment. I will have information at the end of this video about how to get a hold of me. Today, we are going to talk about Revit 2 or Building Information Modeling. Here is the schedule, so to say, for what we are going to talk about today. We are mainly going over phasing, everything you need to know about Revit. The last thing I wanted to say was that if you have not had Revit in a while, definitely go and look into the Revit 1 tip sheet full of really good tips. This Revit tip sheet is actually specific to this class. And so it really gives the real world perspective to this project. All right, so let's get to it. Next is reflected ceiling plans. We'll also be going over a couple of other plans. So again, here in the project browser, we are going to create these reflected ceiling plans that we need. One for the existing phase and then one for the new construction phase. So we need to create them, name it, duplicate it, and then change the phasing. Any view that says existing, the phase should also say existing. If it says new construction, then it should be the new construction phase. These ceilings that we're going to be drawing, there are new versions and there are old versions. Because we change around so many of these offices, and just because it needs an upgrade, right? These ceilings are gross, they look silly, they're not interesting, whatever. And so the client has asked us to change these ceilings. And so we've got an existing ceiling plan and we've got a new construction ceiling plan. Also, same with the furniture. You're going to want to also duplicate those, name them, and then phase them. And so you're going to have an existing furniture plan and you're going to have a new construction furniture plan. Some of the furniture that exists, that is in that existing plan, carries over. They keep that furniture for the new rebuild. A lot of it goes away though, so it gets demoed. Also, in Revit, especially 24-25, they changed how the property browser looks, and depending on the type of project you choose in the beginning, it gives you specific defaults. And I think these get in the way. They take up so much room. New students who are trying to figure out, what they're doing in Revit get confused. And so I think that you should just delete them and get them out of the way. It's tedious, but it will save you so much time down the road. Your project browser will shorten, it'll shrink up, and it'll be so much easier to look at all of those different views that you have created, that you do need for this project, okay? So moving on to elevations and levels. If you remember from AutoCAD, there's always a box around your drawing, right? When you go to put them on a sheet. And so these boxes are really important because they determine how much room is going to be given for that drawing on a sheet. Sometimes they hide things though, so as you can see, I'm moving this scope box and looking for the elevation markers. I can see one, but I don't know where the others are. And that's going to prove problematic. Delete that elevation. It's okay, I promise. Delete the elevation. You can go to the elevation marker and then just draw new ones like I'm doing here, okay? So I'm basically deleting the east, west, north, and south elevations that were already created here, and I am now putting down new ones. So all of these are going to look correct, and then I'm also going to name them correctly. I also wanted to add with these elevation markers, just like most things in Revit, when you click on something, you have to be really mindful about what you're wanting to do with that click. And this elevation marker has about 3 different things that it can do depending on where you click on it. So typically you want to click on the thing, it's going to turn blue when you've got it selected, your properties are going to change, and then you move it. Click and then pull. Be really mindful and intentional about that selection and what you're trying to do with it. So much like the other times I've shown you with your elevation marker, there's a bunch of different things that you can click and be really mindful of that. Also, always check your hidden views, always change that detail level to fine, try and problem solve as much as you can before getting frustrated and not knowing what to do, right? This is also, notice that I moved that elevation marker out of the way of the label. So just be really careful of things like that too. You're not going to be able to click on the right thing if you've got things overlapping each other. Even in an elevation, if you click on something and scroll down, it's going to tell you what phase it's in. Exterior wall, it's going to be an existing. Toilets, sinks, they're going to be existing. The conference wall or the conference tables, they're going to be new construction. If you're seeing something that says demoed in new construction in your elevations, then that means your phasing might be wrong. And you need to go back and make sure that all that phasing is correct, okay? Every so often that has more to do with the phase filter, and sometimes we just can't get those right, I've noticed. If you have gone through your phasing, if you've looked at all the filters, if you played with them all and made sure they're right, and they're still showing up in an elevation, you can hide them. But don't just do that first. Definitely try and solve the problem, okay? So as we can see, there's an elevation view line here. That's your actual view. So if it was way out on the other side of the building, it's not going to show what you want it to. So that's another tell sign. If you go to an elevation and you're like, what am I even looking at? That's why, is that you need to make sure where that view line is. And so then we can right click and go to view. So now we've got this nice elevation with levels, and that's what we want to see, is we want to make sure that we have those levels. And then we're going to rename it. And then we're going to do that 4 times so that you have all 4 sides of your building in exterior elevation showing the level. I also want to remind you that if your exterior elevations are showing up correctly, you don't need to do any of this. This is only if you're not seeing those markers on your floor plans or you're not seeing your levels correctly in the elevation. So this is a and if, not a do this no matter what, okay? Here we're going to move into sections, and in a lot of ways it's all the things that we've already talked about. Just like an elevation, sections have a cut line and a view area. So you want to make sure that you're moving that little light blue box with the arrows on the end to show the view that you want. And when you go over to that section, that's literally the crop box view area. That little blue dotted line in a floor plan is the area that you're seeing here. Also, I don't know if you've noticed by now, but I've also been changing the scale and the detail view that's in the bottom left-hand corner of the actual drawing area is your scale. So right now my scale for this elevation is 1/4 inch. However, it is not in fine detail. We can also see that up in the properties. Right now it says detail level and it says coarse. I want to make my default view 1/4 inch fine detail. And then if I need to change that later, I can. Details, things like that, are going to be obviously much larger, and so you're going to want to change that. But I always at least start here because then you can see things really nicely and really easily. Different components show up in different detail views. So if you're not seeing something that you think you should be seeing, it's probably because it's in a coarse detail level and you need to change it to fine. So then 3D views, really, really important to know your mouse really well. And we'll go back to that in a second. The first thing though is of course phasing. So just like any other view, this 3D view has a phase, and you can change it as you're making all of these different phased views. So if you're in an existing floor plan and you're using your 3D view, and so then when you move forward and you're looking at the new construction part of your project, then this 3D model needs to change the phase to new construction so that you're seeing the changes per phase, okay? This wall, that model in place wall that we built, is new construction. So if we're in the existing phase, that new wall should not be showing, which is a telltale sign that I need to go back and that I might have done something incorrectly or something changed accidentally, right? The first thing I say in my Revit 1 tip sheet is you need to be using a mouse. It will make your life so much easier. So if you are not using a mouse, go and get one right now. You can buy one from Target for, $8. So also, again, move that mouse, get used to it. Cube up in the top right-hand corner allows you to see your building at any angle you want. You can click on one side of it and it can look like a section. You can click and pull on it and it's going to be any perspective that you want it to be, okay? And so being able to manipulate that and very deftly is really, really important. It's going to help you out so much to be able to look in your 3D view and use it as a reference point. The other thing I want to leave you off with is that there are other properties in this project that you may need to go and look into. Visibility graphics is going to tell you a lot of information. It's going to show you what things might be hidden instead of having to go to your hidden view, which turns, everything pink that is hidden. You can also see that in your visibility graphics. You can also see or change the line value, the line color to any component, okay? Whether it's a floor or a toilet. Also, the pattern as well. And this is only per view. So anything that you change in that visibility graphics window is per view. So that means what you change in existing is not going to follow over into your new construction plans. Okay? So I hope that all of these things help you moving forward in your project. I know that it is a lot to take in, and so hopefully by doing it by sections helps you be able to go back and reference something as you're actually working in it. As always, please feel free to reach out to me. You can email me directly or you can email the Student Learning Center. You can also schedule directly with me or any other tutor that is at the MyWC. If you do not know how to schedule, please reach out to the library or the Student Learning Center. So happy Reviting and good luck. So I hope that all of these things help you moving forward in your project. I know that it is a lot to take in, and so hopefully by doing it by sections helps you be able to go back and reference something as you're actually working in it. As always, please feel free to reach out to me. You can email me directly or you can email the Student Learning Center. You can also schedule directly with me or any other tutor that is at the MyWC. If you do not know how to schedule, please reach out to the library or the Student Learning Center. So happy Reviting and good luck.